Chiefs Kingdom ACU crew, welcome. Today we're going to vent a little bit about Raiders versus Chiefs Christmas, the Christmas catastrophe. That is what it was known as. The Grinch came in wearing a black and silver jersey and Grinched it up in the kingdom. That's what happened. Good to see you guys. We're going to talk about the game. We were going to go live yesterday. We were having a family get-together. We had extra family get-togethers last night, trying to get everything in for Christmas. And who really wanted to waste our day talking about that game? That was one of the worst, most piss-poor performances I have ever witnessed a Chiefs team play, minus the Palco years. And I'm so tired of everybody being like, don't get spoiled. It's always worse. It's always worse. We're in a championship mentality. This is a new era in Chiefs football. Get the old out. We're here to win. We're here to win. We're here to build dynasties and championships and to not squander Patrick Mahomes' career. Okay, so get that loser mentality out. We're going forward. It's championship or bust every single season. There is no room for bad seasons. I'm getting so tired of hearing that. Let's not accept mediocrity anymore. Let's not go back ever to what it was. So before we get going, just want to thank you guys for being here. As you can see, Steve's not here. He is at work. Steve is working. We're about 1 week away from getting the YouTube ban hopefully lifted. We'll see what happens. It's been a grueling 3 months, but we have persevered. And at the new year, hopefully we get everything going. Hopefully we can get the content picked back up. Hopefully don't have to work so much. Hopefully we can all do this together. But it's just me. Appreciate you guys being here. There's almost 100 people in here already. Appreciate that. Hit that like button for me. If you do not care, spread it out to more Chiefs Kingdom. And let's talk about the game a little bit. So I'll just jump right in. This was my thoughts on the game yesterday. It was a dumpster fire. From front to back, I watched Patrick Mahomes in the pregame speech say, start fast, finish strong. That's what he said. Okay, start fast. They started very fast. Negative 18 yards in the first quarter. That's a great start. That's a fast start. A fumble and a pick six, giving up 14 points within 7 seconds. That's a fast start. Finish strong. Their last 4 possessions, be it their last possession, they did get a touchdown. But the 3 before that, turnover on downs, punt, turnover on downs. Come on. That's not finishing strong. That's not starting fast. These guys look disinterested this year. Something about this team feels weird. It feels off. It just doesn't feel like the Chiefs we're used to watching. It doesn't. I think you can place blame anywhere you want. Blame this, blame that, blame him, blame him. At the end of the day, it's a team game and they're all together. Something's wrong. Something's wrong. It felt deeper than what we're all thinking. Did it not have that vibe when you were watching it? The players were screaming. Mahomes was tearing into his offensive line. 2 weeks ago, he's tearing into the officials. Andy Reid is having to hold back the kid from giving Kelsey his helmet after Kelsey slams it over on the sideline. He's hip checking Kelsey. This team looks insane. They look distraught. They look out of it. They look defeated. They look lost. This team is in shambles right now. I said this a few weeks ago. I was telling Steve, I said, look, do you guys remember? I know if you're a true OG and you've watched, you'll remember this. I told Steve that I wanted them to coalesce, get together, and fight and see what we could do to finish the season. But I said, I feel like we're this close to being able to lose this team. And they could regress all the way back and may struggle. And it's almost like we're watching it in real time. I've been there before. I've played on teams. That's had internal conflict and it implodes. People from the outside do not see it. Good teams, good franchises, good front offices do not make this stuff public. But we know at the end of the day, Mahomes is upset. He's upset that these offensive linemen are not blocking. He's running for his life. He's upset that these wide receivers are making the same mistakes in week 15 and 16 they were making in week 1. He's upset that Brett Veach didn't go get him a playmaker. All offseason, if you had 2 eyes in your head and a brain in your skull, you knew that a 34-year-old Travis Kelce was not enough to get Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs back as an offensive powerhouse. You knew it. And if you were on the side of the fence that said we didn't need nobody and Travis Kelce was enough, you need to look in your mirror. First, thank the good Lord you're not a GM for the Chiefs because you'd have done what you just did. So everybody that did this, you made the bed. Let's roll around in it. This is what we're getting. You know, because there was a few of us out here that said, Kelce ain't enough. He's getting a little older. We need that playmaker. We need those threats. And, you know, it wasn't widely accepted. Let's put it that way. It wasn't widely accepted. But it is what it is. And we've seen that yesterday. You've seen the offensive line not block. You've seen the receivers make mistakes time after time. Kelce still looks disinterested. He looks just, I don't know. Kelce just looks older. He just doesn't look as effective. And again, triple teams, double teams, triple teams. But you knew this is coming. If he's the only guy you have to stop, which is why we said you need a playmaker, well, then you stop him. And how hard is it to stop a 34-year-old? We've been conditioned in Kansas City, once you hit your second contract, if you're 28, you're old. Everybody's trying to kick Chris Jones out of town because he's getting ready to turn 30, 31. Kelce's 34. And we thought he was good enough to be wide receiver 1, target 1. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Nothing has made sense this entire year. It's like everything about this season's felt weird from the beginning. It felt a little egotistical. It felt a little, everybody's on the high. And we just didn't. The players just aren't performing. They're not performing. The coaches, I feel like the coaching staff is just, I don't even know. Don't get me started with it. You can blame Nagy. You can blame him. I don't know if he's at fault. You can blame Connor Embry. I don't know if he's at fault. I think the one you got to blame is Big Red. Love Big Red. But his team's just not there, man. This is the most undisciplined team I've ever seen Big Red coach. They cannot get it together. They can't dig deep and find ways to win. They can't score points. That's why we lost yesterday. Hell of an effort by our defense yesterday. I seen a stat where Aiden O'Connell didn't even complete a pass, was it? For 3 straight quarters, and they won the game? Our defense done that? Come on. Can you believe a Patrick Mahomes Andy Reid-led offense with Travis Kelce and supposedly revamped offensive line, the best offensive line in Mahomes' career, can't score points. That's our Achilles heel, is we can't put the ball in the end zone. What kind of bizarro world are we living in? Like, where are we? What is this? What is this? What's going on? These guys are in their own heads. I just feel like they're on the verge of implosion. Every press conference is the exact same. We know it's bad. We got to get it together. We got to do this, got to do that. Yeah, you guys have been saying that for weeks and weeks and weeks. When do you actually start doing something about it? I don't know what to say. Like, you're a professional. You're getting paid to do this. You watch the film. You practice all week. You set up the game plans. You call the plays. You execute. Nobody else does anything else. But every week, we're back to square one. It's square one. Every week, we got to do better. Mahomes said it yesterday. If we could just score points, we'd be okay. We got to clean it up. Oh, profound words coming from QB1. If you'd score points, you'd win. Yeah, I bet you would. What's going on? I'm going to tell you where it starts. And then I'm going to get to some comments. This is where I think it starts. Sky Moore was injured. He sucked all year anyway. You know, I like Sky Moore as a person, but he sucked. He deserved to be put on IR. I don't care if he's injured or not. He needed to be gone. But who else has sucked? Kadarius Toney's had the worst year of his career. That's not saying much. He hasn't done that much since he's been drafted, let's be honest. MVS has been complete trash. If that dude's not out of a Chief uniform come next year, Brett Veach will have failed even worse than this season. And this has to be the worst job he's ever done in his front office time, was this season. Has to be. No doubt about it. And if he doesn't get MVS out of town, next year's automatically worse. But you had all those snaps to go around. Justin Ross gets activated, and what did I tell everybody? I said, please, please, and I'm not saying this as to sound like I'm just the king of the world that knows everything. I just said, please don't bank on Justin Ross. I would love to see it, but do not bet on Justin Ross being the savior, and I guarantee Andy will be lucky to give him double-digit snaps. And if I'm not mistaken, here it is. Pete Sweeney, Ross had 10 snaps. That's all they could frickin' manage to give Justin Ross was 10 snaps yesterday. Richie James needs to play more. He could only get 25. So where did they go? Valdez-Scantling, MVS. Mister, I get paid $33 million to do Christmas cardio. He got a great workout in. He could have got the same thing for $100 a year at the members club at Planet Fitness. Just go run on the treadmill for 2.5 hours, bro. That's all he did yesterday. He stinks. MVS downright stinks. And I know if he watches this, he's going to say, who's this chubby white man telling me I stink? He don't know nothing about the game. Well, guess what? I might not be able to do the route as good as you, but I'm also not claiming to be a professional athlete, hawking $33 million from the Chiefs. That's criminal. You need to be prosecuted. That's armed robbery. That's theft, bro. It's theft. You should be giving it back. You should have donated every bit of your paycheck yesterday to a charity in Kansas City for having to watch you. It is pathetic. It is pathetic watching him. And MVS is the one that got the majority of the snaps. MVS got him. What did he do with them? Nothing. No catches, no yards. He's played in 2 games this year versus the arch nemesis, the biggest rival in Kansas City, the frickin' Vegas Raiders. 1 catch. 1 catch, I think, is what he's got. -1 yards in 2 games versus the Raiders. We're paying this guy $33 million, and he musters up -1 yard. Me, not making a dime and watching on my couch, has 1 more yard than MVS has against the frickin' Raiders, bro. Come on. What is he doing out there? Why do we have to keep doing this? This is coaching. It's coaching. It's coaching. Andy Reid is being stubborn. I don't know what the deal is this year. And if the receivers are so bad that you have to give MVS 61 snaps, then do not tell me we didn't need D-Hop. Do not tell me we shouldn't have drafted another wide receiver. Maybe we should have double dipped. Maybe we should have got up in the draft and took Zay Flowers. I don't care what you had to go give up. You should have went up and got somebody if that's the case. If you're this bad, you should have got something. Brett Veach could have made something happen at the trade deadline, except for McCole Hardman, Mr. IR himself. I'm disappointed. It's the I'm disappointed. I'm not mad. I'm disappointed. That's worse. I'm disappointed in this team. I don't feel like they care. I feel like they're all hungover. I feel like they're all in their own worlds. I feel like their heads have exploded. Nobody fears them. It's bad. And poor Andy, he's lost them. I don't know. I don't know if he's got them back. Look, they could turn it around. In 2 weeks, they could win these next 2 games, go on a hellacious run, win another Super Bowl. What do I know? But I tell you what. Is it likely? No way. No way watching this team. There's just no way. And, tell me I'm a bad fan. Tell me I'm a bad, whatever you want to say. I've been watching it since I was born. I've seen the bad times. I've seen the good times. I don't want to go back to the bad times. I'm not content on winning a few Super Bowls and going back to obscurity. It's that simple. If that's your mentality, oh, that's cool. You're a loser. You're a loser on, you're a loser off the field. That's the way it is, man. You got to keep grinding, got to keep fighting. You always got to be better. It's passion. It's I feel like I care more than the players. It shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that. Us watching the game after we sacrificed our Christmas to get up and watch that garbage. It's whatever. I'll answer some questions here if you guys want to throw them in the chat. Not saying I'm going to be great at answering them. But back to what I was trying, the ultimate thing here. I'm disappointed, but I mean, look, they are who we knew they were since the beginning. We knew this team wasn't going to be explosive offensively. Veach didn't bring in anybody. Everybody said Patrick could do it himself. Heck, he don't even need a receiver. Just give him Travis Kelce and, he'll throw it to himself. He'll catch it himself. I think we can put that to bed, can't we? As good as Travis Kelce is, as good as Patrick Mahomes is, football's a team sport. There's 11 people out there at one time. So they're who we thought they were. So to me, you can't look at this team as a championship team and be disappointed. If they don't go to the Super Bowl, you can't be disappointed. They've never showed us one time this year that they were a championship team. They barely showed us they're a playoff team. They're limping in the playoffs. They're going to fall into the playoffs ass backwards just because there isn't an extra 2 weeks in the season. Because God forbid if the NFL added 2 more weeks to the season, Denver would catch us. It's disgusting. But they're not a playoff team. They are technically. But good grief, nobody's buying it. Our poll today has 138 votes, and it's 80% says they're going to get knocked out in the first round or the second round. Who are they going to beat at this point? Look, heck of a defense. We're wasting a defense. We are wasting a Mahomes prime year, in which Mahomes, he struggled a lot this year. Don't get me wrong, but I just don't think the pieces are in place for the guy. I mean, it's the same as in basketball. If you put one good player out there versus 5 good players, and that one good, great player is going to be tough to win it. Like, people's got to contribute, and they're not contributing nothing. Bailey, I see your question. Do you like Taylor Swift? You don't have to write that anymore. I have no problem with Taylor Swift. I'm not going to blame a 100-pound, 30-some-year-old woman dating a Chiefs player and curse her with the struggles of this team. She has no bearing on what they do on the field. Is Kelce not paying attention as much? I don't know. That's on Kelce. He's supposed to be wanting to be the great. He's wanting to be the GOAT. He's wanting to break the records. He's wanting to win championships. Did he let her distract him? I can't say that for myself. It looks like it sometimes, but that's on Kelsey. That ain't on her. Kelsey's a grown man. He can figure it out. It's not on. She's there watching a football game. She can't help it that the cameras are pointing at her. It's not her problem. Like, I don't get it. We're just looking for scapegoats. Start blaming the team. Blame the coaches. Blame Veach, but not Taylor Swift. She didn't do nothing. I never seen her line up on third down. I never seen her call a bad play. I never seen her call a trick play on freaking inside of our own 10-yard line. I didn't see her make that stupid bonehead pass that Patrick Mahomes did. They got a pick six on it. I'm not blaming her. I'm blaming the players and the coaches and the franchise. The Chiefs as a whole this year, as an organization, the Chiefs dropped the ball this year. Is it expected? Yeah. I mean, you can't be great year to year to year. But with Mahomes and with Andy Reid and with all the talent we have, you should be. You should be. And honestly, is it unfair? A little bit. But that's what comes with greatness, man. That's what comes with greatness. You got to suck it up. Not a lot of people are used to greatness. I'm not. I've never been the greatest at anything in my life. I've been pretty good at a few things, but I've never shouldered greatness. Michael Jordan probably did. Okay, he shouldered it. Kobe Bryant shouldered some greatness. A lot of people did, and I bet you the pressure is immense. But boy, did they step up to the plate over and over and over. And this year, not saying Patrick's not, and not saying Andy's not, and not even Travis. Travis had a pretty good year. But the guys around them aren't doing it for him, and I don't know. I mean, what do you do? What do you do? But again, I'm not mad. It's hard to be mad at a team. This team's not good enough to win a Super Bowl. They're not. If they win a Super Bowl, it'll just be a surprise. It'll just be the cherry on top. This is a team that's good enough to win one, maybe two playoff games if everything goes right. And if they get bounced in the first round, congrats. It's kind of expected. If you've been watching it to this point and you think that they're going to do anything but that, then sorry for your letdown, because I don't know what you've been watching. But yeah, we'll answer some questions. I appreciate you guys being here. Throw them up in the comments. Be sure to put the little question mark so I'll know what the questions are and then who's just talking to each other. I don't want to interrupt y'all's conversations. Hit that like button for me if you don't care. And thanks for being here. 235 here. Just venting about the Chiefs. If you've never commented, comment. Let me know what's going on. Let me know what your thoughts were on the game. Let me know if you guys had a good Christmas, by the way. I wanted to start that off. Merry Christmas. I hope you guys had a good one. If you don't celebrate Christmas, you celebrate Kwanzaa. I hope you had a good Kwanzaa. If you celebrate, Hanukkah, hope it was the best. Hope you had 8 crazy nights. That's what I hope. So yeah, I just hope everybody had a good time. And I hope we didn't let the Chiefs kind of run it. Believe me, that was a stain on the day, but again, we've been talking about this. That's who they are. You can't be that upset if they lose. We know they're a team that can't score. Like, how upset could you possibly be? Is it frustrating? 100%. But, Ronald, what's up, Ronald? I appreciate you being here, man. He says, look, our defense played their ass off. Our offense gave the Raiders 13. You're not going to win games like that. Let's face the Chiefs will make the playoffs, but we'll get bounced in the first. You're 1,000% right, Ronald. I mean, the defense looks so good, and that's the thing. That's the one thing that's kind of just irritating me about this entire season. We're so focused on the offense being so bad, and we're so focused on Kelsey and his off-the-field stuff, and we're so focused on Andy Reid, and we're so focused on, Bieniemy going somewhere, and now it's Nagy's fault, and we're focused on this, and why is Mahomes having a bad year, and why can't the receivers get open? And it literally pisses me off that this defense is one of the best defenses I've seen over the past 10, 15 years in the NFL in general. And they're getting overlooked. They get zero credit. We're not even winning games like yesterday. And they come out, and again, they give up a few big runs there at the end. They were freaking tired, dude. It's tough carrying an entire team all the time. That's going to happen. The offense has to pull their weight, and it's crazy how good this defense is. And Spags, it's been this way from day one. They've all had good years. George Karlaftis has looked great. Mike Dana has had a great year. Shout out Mike Dana. Dude, Charles Omenihu has not even got 70% of the snaps in a game yet. And this cat's putting up career-high sack numbers. The defensive tackles have looked pretty good. Wharton's not had a great year per stat-wise, but he's coming off that ACL, and he's been healthy. Derek Notty's had a good year. Our linebackers have went through some of the craziest adversity I've seen and witnessed in recent years between all the injuries. Tranquil with the concussion. Nick Bolton being out twice, 2 separate occasions. But they're playing at a pretty high level. I think Willie Gay's had a good season. Our corners are still playing well. Snead is having the best season he's had. Give up a dumb penalty yesterday by grabbing. Shouldn't have grabbed. It was a penalty. Shouldn't have grabbed, but it didn't cost us anything in the end. And they've all played well. You know, Brian Cook gets injured. Mike Edwards comes in. Pretty good. I will say Brett Veach done a good job of finding pieces for the defense through the draft, through free agency. Omenihu's been a pretty good signing. Mike Edwards has been a pretty good signing. And Drew Tranquil's been a heck of a signing. Those were his wins. His losses have all been on the offense. Look, you can say he drafts good, he drafts bad, whatever you want to say. He's not drafted, besides Mahomes, and I'll give him Pacheco. He's not drafted that great on the offensive side of the ball, especially when it comes to playmakers. And free agency. He's not done a very good job of pulling in free agents. $33 million to MVS. Come on. $80 million to Jawan Taylor. Look, Jawan Taylor's not that much of an upgrade. He's an upgrade, don't get me wrong. But let's think about this for 1 second. We see what happens upgrading Andrew Wiley to Jawan Taylor and not having enough money to get a wide receiver. Now, if you had a time machine, how many people would go back? Because you see what we are now. How many people would go back to the offseason and say, we'll re-sign Wiley for around that $20 million mark. We'll take that other big chunk of money and let's throw it at maybe D-Hop or throw it at another wide receiver and let's go get a D-Hop. Let's just say D-Hop. You get D-Hop and Wiley and we start the season over. Are we better or are we worse than we are now with Jawan Taylor and MVS and no wide receivers? And again, you could have cut MVS in the offseason. I don't care how much dead money come with it. He needed to be gone. If I had a time machine, that'd be my one thing. I'd go back and convince Brett Veach to just cut him. But yeah, it is what it is. Let's answer a few more here. Edwin says, should we stop going to the stadium? There wasn't many people there yesterday. Look, it's Christmas. I think that's a bold strategy, putting games on Christmas. I think they thought a lot more people were going to turn out. Look, ticket prices ended up being pretty reasonable because people didn't want to go. But ticket prices have been insane this year. The Chiefs have drove up ticket prices to $500 nosebleed tickets. They're hard to come by. You overpay for them. And this team stinks. They just downright stink. They don't give you any effort. So you're working all week long to be able to afford one ticket in the nosebleed, and then they get to work for, their 3 hours to come to work, and boy, they just crap the bed, and you pay for it. It's funny. Should we stop going to the stadium? That's on y'all. I don't know. I mean, they're the Chiefs, and I'm always going to love them. I'm always going to watch them. I'm always going to support them. I did it for all the bad years. It's not like one bad season amongst a dynasty is going to do it. But look, after this season, did we lose Patrick Mahomes a prime year? Yeah, 1,000%. We lost an entire prime year of Patrick Mahomes. The way he's running for his life and the way he's stressing out, I think we've aged him another 5 years. So we may have knocked 6 years off his life. Poor guy looks tired. He looks defeated out there. I think they've drove Andy Reid to the point of he's about to retire. Travis Kelce looks like he's so disinterested because he's got the podcast and Taylor Swift and everything else under the sun. I guess Pfizer's paying him enough money now. He can just go do what he wants. He don't look like he even wants to be out there half the time. It's crazy. It's crazy what comes with success. And I thought this team was enough to handle it. And I don't think the big guys, I don't think the Kelseys of the world and stuff, like, I believe they handle it a lot better if there had been a good offensive team put around them. But when Brett Veach said, look, I'm cheaping out this area and this area, he picked the wrong areas to cheap out on, because it's caused this offense an implosion, man. It really has. So it's crazy. But yeah, there wasn't a lot of people there yesterday. KY, what's up? She says, according to Raiders fans, they're winning the division now, and the Chiefs aren't even going to make it next year. I think the Raiders are on the up. They would be ignorant to not let Antonio Pierce keep that head coaching job. The Chargers, in my opinion, Staley, he stunk. He needed to go. I don't know how close they are to being more dominant, but they're probably going to lose Eckler in the offseason, right? I don't know. Keenan Allen's getting a little older. I feel like the AFC West as a division's on the up. Sean Payton's got Denver playing a little bit better. So the whole division's on the up. I think that the Chiefs are actually slumping. Like, we have now come down to match everybody now. It's every divisional game it's always a dogfight, but now who can be so sure? We can't take the game and be like, oh, we got Patrick and Andy in a high scoring offense. Defense is playing well. We're going to handle this. Not anymore. And ain't nobody scared of this team anymore, man. So I don't know. Merry Christmas to you, Jacob. Good to see you, brother. Robert says, that loss ruined my Christmas. It really did. Helicopter says, a stupid trick play at your own end zone. Why get cute when you have Mahomes? Yeah, that's the same. I thought it was kind of dumb to run the Pacheco when they ended up scoring. Like, to me, like, good play call. It worked. But look, if that play gets blown up in the backfield or they drop that one, we're saying the same thing. We're saying, why did you have a good drive to get down the field? And as soon as we get to the 15, the 10, inside the red zone, somewhere around the 20, why is it we always have to start doing these cute play calls? It doesn't make sense. And then I think, and I'm like, well, they don't trust their own guys. And then you say, wait, they don't trust their own receivers and their own offense and their own offensive line to block. Why'd they pay them all this money? Why didn't they go get somebody at the trade deadline? And then my whole head goes into a wild conundrum of a spinning hamster wheel. And believe me, I don't have many brain cells to be focusing with. But I just start getting in this catch-22 going. And it's like, this is a disaster. That's just what it always comes out is this is a disaster. Simon says, has Veach done enough right to stick around after all the misfires? Look, he's had some misfires. Veach is still one of the best GMs in the game in his young tenure. He's a very young guy. I think Veach has to overcome. Look, his bravado, and I don't know him personally. I feel like he'd be a great person. He'd be a fun dude to hang around. He'd be the life of the party. You can just tell by the way Veach walks around, you know. But with that being said, I don't know him personally. But I feel like, he does have some confidence. He's got some bravado. I think behind closed doors, he will admit he missed some. Will he let this be slip? Will this be a public thing? Probably not. But I think he knows. And I think he may go into overcorrection mode. And he hopefully gets this taken care of. Now, will he have to start skimping other things? Yeah. I mean, you can't be top across the board unless you can draft well. He's done that with the defense pretty, down the board. He's hit pretty well, especially with the corners when you had to rego. Look, Willie Gay's not been perfect to what we thought he was going to do, but he's been solid. Nick Bolton's been a slam dunk. Defensive line, Mike Dan has turned out to be a very good defensive lineman. George Karlaftis, he's going to get to double digits. That kid's going to be good. I think he's got to start getting younger at the defensive tackle. I think you can never have enough pass rushers. But again, you've got Truman Jones, you've got B.J. Thompson, you've got Felix Anudike. You've got a stockpile of weapons there on the edge. Can they develop these guys now? Can Joe Cullen develop these guys? I think they'll get there. So, I mean, I feel like our defense is in a good spot. A lot of people say don't sign Nick Bolton. Look, Nick is one of those I would sign. I would almost now be, I almost put Nick Bolton above Trey Smith now. I'm a big Trey Smith fan, but look, Trey Smith left that game yesterday. For the past few weeks, he's kind of been getting blown up. Could be injury related too. I like Trey Smith as much as the next guy, but I feel like we have enough guys to, like Allegretti done a pretty good job. You've got Kennard. You've got Mike Caliendo. You've got guys there that I think could play at a pretty high level. Are they going to play at Trey Smith's level immediately? No. But you've got guys with talent, and I also think it's easier to draft a guard rather than is a middle linebacker that can do the things Nick Bolton can do. So to me, I think Nick Bolton is now a higher priority than Trey Smith. Creed has got to be a pretty high priority. You don't want to get rid of Creed. Again, I mean, he's top 5, top 3, maybe if you want to go that. Center is something like, okay, every year the best center in the draft falls to the late first, early second. So where we tend to pick, which is 26 and beyond, you can almost be in position to take a center with the first pick any draft and have the best center coming out of college and have a free 4 or 5 years off of them, basically. And they're going to be pretty solid. Centers are smart kids. They're pretty athletic. And, I mean, I don't want to say it's easy to do what they do, but, I mean, they learn the offense and they do the same things over and over. But I don't want to get rid of Creed. Don't let that come off as that. I'm just saying that there's certain positions I feel are easier to fill than others. And right now I feel like Nick Bolton is more vital to the success of the team more than Trey Smith right now, per se. Eric says, who's the Chiefs' number 2? They don't have a number 1. So who's the Chiefs' number 1? Who is it? Let's go look at what they did. Here's their snap count. Per snap count, MVS would be their number 1. Get out of here. A number 1 receiver that hasn't caught but like 4 balls all season. This guy stinks. If he's number 1, you can see why we're losing. Rashee Rice is definitely our number 1. But is Rashee Rice a number 1 receiver in this league? I think he could be. But I think Rashee Rice settles in as a high-end number 2. That's where I would feel comfortable with Rashee Rice, as a high-end number 2. Could he be a number 1? Possibly, but he's going to be the low-tier number 1. Is he ever going to be super, super, super dominant? I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying he don't have the potential. He's got all the potential in the world, but I would feel more comfortable if he's your number 2 guy and you went out and you got you a big playmaker at number 1. That would be great. I would love it. But yeah, who's number 1? I mean, a rookie, Rashee Rice. So yeah, who's number 2 right now? Good Lord, I don't know. Me, I guess. I caught as many balls yesterday as MVS did, and I played a lot less snaps, that's for sure. But yeah, I'll take a few more questions here, and we'll get to it. Sean says, this is going to continue as long as Nagy is everyone's friend. No one is worried about losing their job to the next guy. EB will be relieved of his OC position at the end of the season. We miss his hard ass. Yeah, I don't know how much Nagy hurts and helps and what happens. I do tend to fall on the side that Nagy's more of a friendly guy. Bieniemy's more of a, hey, do it my way or the highway kind of guy. But who knows? I found this little thing on Twitter from Matt Lane. He's been on the show a few times. That is not it. It'll be this one. Yeah, Matt Lane says, a random fun stat. The Chiefs, Mahomes with under 33% of pass attempts traveling 10-plus yards. So this year he's saying that pass attempts over 10-plus yards are under 33%. So he's throwing less than a third of the balls going 10-plus yards. So if you look at what he's saying that Matt Nagy in Chicago didn't have that problem. Like, they didn't throw that little amount of balls 10-plus. Andy Reid and Mahomes has done it 3 times without Nagy. KC Reed without Mahomes did it a lot because that was Alex Smith. He was the dink and dunk artist. And then, of course, Reed in Philly did it 2 times. And the stats go back to 2004. So what Matt's trying to say here is very clear, not defending Nagy. just saying the blame should be centered elsewhere if there is a qualm with the scheme and play calling. And that's kind of what I've been saying. If it's the scheme and the play calling, I don't think Nagy has that much to do with it. So a lot of people are saying, look, Nagy, fire him as an offensive coordinator. He's not calling good plays. Andy Reid does it. He schemes. He does all of it. So I don't know where the blame lies with Nagy. It's fair to say what you just said, though. It's fair to say that maybe he's a little too soft and be enemy. We need that hard ass, do it my way kind of guy. So who knows? But that's where I'm at with the Nagy thing. I just don't know if it's Nagy. I mean, like I said, Nagy's not running the wide receiver routes. He's not catching the balls. He's not running the wrong routes. And I want to say this too yesterday, what I seen. There was a play in the game where Mahomes is having trouble getting rid of the ball. And a lot of people are saying, well, his receivers aren't open. The receivers aren't open. There was a particular play there in the fourth quarter where Mahomes held on, and he held on, and he held on. And I think he eventually took a sack. I think it eventually led to a sack. And everybody said the receivers won't get open. CBS went back and showed the play. And 3 wide receivers on that play were open. MVS was actually open. Mahomes didn't throw it. Didn't have a guy in the frame. There wasn't a guy within 6 yards of MVS. Mahomes didn't throw it. I think it was Rashee Rice. Not a guy within 5 yards of him. Mahomes didn't throw it. There were several times that there was guys open and Mahomes just won't throw the ball. Now, does he not have trust? Possibly so. But this is what Mahomes has to start doing. If you watch any NFL game that's not the Chiefs, you see quarterbacks going back and they just got that F it mentality. They'll just launch it up, throw it. The receiver's going to make the catch or he don't make the catch. And it is what it is. I feel like Mahomes tries to guide the ball a lot. He's afraid that they're going to do the whole Kadarius Toney flipping the ball up and this and that. But look, I don't think he can be scared of failure when it comes to that. I think Mahomes just needs to let it rip, let it fly. If the guys have got one step on a corner, Mahomes puts it out where it should be there, and the guy's either going to catch it or he's going to drop it or he's going to tip it up and get it picked. Okay. Or he runs the wrong route and gets it picked. But Mahomes got to keep slinging. I don't care if he has 40 interceptions by the end of the year. He's got to expose the receivers, and he's got to say, look, this is the core you give me. These are the plays you're calling. These are the guys you're putting in this position. These are the guys Veach wanted. This is the guys Andy wanted. I'm going to throw it to them. I'm not babying them. I'm not going to hold their hand. I'm going to throw it, and I'm going to continue to throw it. And he's got to continue to just look. He's just got to say, look, I'm an NFL quarterback. You're an NFL receiver. I'm putting it out there. But he's got to the point where he don't trust him, and so he's not going to throw it. So what's he doing? He's holding the ball, and he's getting sacked. He's running for his life. He's going to get himself hurt is what he's going to do. It's almost one of those things where he's trying to micromanage a little too much. I don't think he can do that. I don't really see the point of that because Mahomes cannot single-handedly will himself to win a game. He cannot keep breaking the pocket and just running and running. Like, what's he going to do? Is he going to turn into Michael Vick all of a sudden and put up 300 rushing yards a game? No, that's not what he does, and I don't want him to do that. That's not what he does. Mahomes at his best gets out of the pocket. He makes good decisions, but if he has to, he get out of the pocket, he creates, he just throws it. He can throw the most impossible pass into the most impossible windows. And you've seen him do that with Justin Watson yesterday on that touchdown. That was the magician we loved, and that was what we seen. But see, he trusts Justin Watson to a certain degree. But my point is this. Those are the receivers they've given you, Patrick. Treat them all as if they're DeAndre Hopkins and throw them the ball. If they screw it up and they continue to drop, if they continue to run the routes, guess what? It's not on you. Nobody at the end of the day is going to blame you. It's all going back to Veach, and it's going back to Reed, and it's going back to whoever else thought this wide receiver core was worth having. That's who it falls on, not Patrick. The haters are going to blame Patrick no matter what. You can't listen to them, but the fans and the analysts and everybody will know who the blame there. And that's what he's going to have to do. He's going to have to get out of his head, stop micromanaging, and just sling the ball. If the receivers catch it, cool. If they don't, on them. But that's what I feel like Patrick's got to start doing. That will get us, in my opinion, that's the one thing that can get this offense on the right track. And he's got 2 weeks to figure that out. If somebody wants to send him my way, I'll sports psychologist this kid and we'll get him going. But I'm telling you, look, you just have to say, I'm throwing it, man. Like yesterday when he threw it to Rashee Rice, and Rashee Rice, didn't run the right play, wasn't expecting the ball, something, I don't remember. And then you see Mahomes do this. Like catch the ball. You got to turn around with your hands up. Mahomes threw the ball. Nobody blamed Mahomes for throwing that. You know what we all said? What is Rashee Rice doing? That's what you got to do. You just got to keep doing it. And guess what? The next time he got a little gunshot. Didn't want to throw it to him because he didn't want that to happen again. But it's like, it doesn't matter, man. Let it happen. Just keep letting it happen. Can't be scared. Can't be scared. That's what I think, man. Can't be scared. Richie, what's up, brother? He says, do you think there'll be some coaching changes by next year? Off season, they're not going to fire nobody in season. There ain't no way. I don't know. You could see, I don't think they'll fire anybody publicly, as in they'll come out and just like say, hey, we're firing Matt Nagy or we're firing Connor Embry. There might be a few leave for better opportunities. I don't think they'll come out and just actually fire anybody. But look, you could have a closed door conversation with, say, for example, Embry. If you really want to blame him and you really don't think, whatever. If you want to blame him, you could bring him in and be like, look, man, it's been rough. Why don't you go out there, find you another job, and we'll say you're moving on to better opportunities. And they don't have to come out and say, hey, we canned him. You don't have to run the kid over it. Because I don't feel like he took a lot of heat. But again, at the end of the day, he's not the one getting paid $33 million like MVS, bro. Like MVS has now been in 2 different franchises, several different wide receiver coaches, and he's been the same guy. That's what I'm trying to say. He's been the same guy. You're not going to teach an old dog new tricks. Okay. You're not going to. He's got the way he wants to do things, and they obviously don't work. He's got the way he wants to run his routes, and they obviously don't work. He's got the way that he wants to try to work on his hands, and that obviously don't work. Okay. But that's on MVS. These athletes get paid so much that they don't even listen to coaching half the time. They're not children. They don't even listen. It goes one ear and out the other. They know better. They make more than you. But look, Connor Embry, he got Rashee Rice. He got a rookie. So for the failures of, say, Sky Moore, who Connor Embry didn't have last year. Sky Moore didn't make big leaps last year either. Connor Embry didn't have Richie James last year. You know where Richie James was? He was on the Giants, and he was having a good year with Daniel frickin' Jones. Okay? That's where he was. And then he comes over to this stale offense, and he can't even get snaps, even though Brett Veach wanted him, and everybody wanted him, and they coveted him, and then they get him over here, and they don't even use him. That's what I'm saying. Hey, look, you're not teaching old dogs new tricks, but does he get credit for developing Rashee Rice? Rashee Rice has had a heck of a year. So, again, I feel like there's pros and cons to everything. But at the end of the day, will there be coaching changes? I don't know. I feel like there might be something, but I wouldn't expect, I wouldn't hold my breath on it, let's be honest. But that's probably what I would think. It's good to see all you guys, though. I see a few in the comments. Gary, Ray, Tom, Kenneth, Tommy, Kathy, Ruben, Brent, Valerie. I see all you guys out there. I appreciate you guys spending some time with me here. Just want to get in here and talk about the game. I know that game was frustrating, man. It really was. It felt bad. And you know what is even worse is I feel like, and this is like a society problem in a way. I feel like we've now, and look, it's not always a bad thing. It's not always a bad thing to be generally like nice to children, for example, and if they do their best, tell them. But the whole trophy, everybody gets a plaque generation for showing up, it's sort of got into the NFL. Like, these are NFL athletes that get paid millions and millions and millions, right? But you can't even critique them because you've got the Facebook Karens out there that, they're uncritiquable. She acts like they're the 7-year-old child, just learning the game of basketball or something. It's okay to criticize these people, Karen. I'm sure you'd criticize your mechanic if he screwed up your car 14 times. You don't know how to fix a car, but you would definitely criticize the guy at Subway for making your sandwich wrong. That's what I'm saying. So it's become one of those things where it's frustrating because I feel like a lot of Chief fans can't actually voice some of the stuff. They're afraid that they're going to be called a bad fan. They're afraid that they're going to be called a bandwagon or whatever. But look, don't worry about anybody says. Fans are fans, and you're not cheerleaders, and you don't make money to wave pom-poms and wear a skirt. And you wouldn't want to see it anyway. You wouldn't want to see me out there with it. But yeah, so I feel like a lot of people have a lot of built-up frustration because they feel like they have to be that positive Peter all the time, you know. Oh, positive Pete's here. Let's talk about how we're going to the Super Bowl. We're not. They've not shown me one shred of evidence that says that they got enough balls in the sack to get to the Super Bowl. I don't see it. Does that make me a bad fan? No, not in the slightest. You got to show me something, okay? That show me something. If they say, hey, you don't see the behind the scenes stuff, we're working hard, we're trying hard, we'll produce, put it on the field. Prove me wrong. Let's go. Super Devil Juice says, we could have went Wiley on the left tackle. Don't we still have Lucas? We do have Lucas Niang, and I'm not a huge fan of Lucas Niang. Wiley as a left tackle, don't think I would have trusted that either. But I do see what you're trying to say. You're trying to say, look, we got enough depth that did we have to pay Jawan Taylor $80 million? And I'm with you. I don't think we did. I feel like that was a misfire by Veach. Not saying Jawan Taylor's not a good football player. But look, he struggled at right tackle. I don't see this cat moving to left and being super, super effective. Come on. It's paying a little bit too much money. Again, I'd have rather had Wiley back for cheaper. Would we have had a few more pressures? Absolutely. Would there have been a few more sacks? Probably. But with the money that you pay now a better wide receiver, we'll just say D-Hop again because that was the big name. You don't think Mahomes could have threw up a 50-50 ball to D-Hop and D-Hop's going to come down with a few of those instead of having to eat it and take a sack with Jawan Taylor? Because he ain't throwing them up to MVS, that's for sure. So that's what I'm saying. I feel like it all kind of evens out a little bit. And look, I'm not claiming to be better than Brett Veach. And I know everybody, well, why don't you put in your application? Well, I would if I could, okay? But they're not even hiring at the moment. But yeah, we're just, I don't know. I feel like you can't say anything these days without having that somebody just, trying to just dog you. Like, we're allowed to have thoughts. I'm allowed to think Veach maybe dropped the ball a little bit. It doesn't make me a bad person. I think Veach would quietly agree with me. I think if I sat down at a table, I feel like if Veach opened his email tomorrow and I emailed him tonight and said, hey, would you like to come sit, in on All Chiefed Up with me for a few minutes? And he said, why, sure, Mike, I think I would like that. And we had a nice 20-minute conversation here. And he was super transparent. And maybe he would don't even want to come on the show. Let's just say I go out to dinner with Brett Veach and there's no cameras or nothing. So it would just be my word against his, I guess. But he would probably be more open, right? The off-the-record thing. I think quietly, off the record, he would say, look, I kind of missed a little bit. I really should have went out and got a better receiver. Maybe I should have took care of the Chris Jones thing better. If I would have signed Chris a little earlier, just paid him that extra $5 or $6 million, threw it on the back end, maybe I'd have freed up a little more money this year. Maybe that would have the money I freed up this cap year, I could have offered to D-Hop. Maybe I could have restructured MVS, got him out of town. I think he would say all this. I really do. He's not going to say it publicly. He's not. But yeah, I think so. But I got your point, Super Devil Juice. We do have a lot of guys that I think are serviceable. And would Lucas Niang would he have been a downgrade from Jawan Taylor? Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not saying Jawan Taylor's trash. But yeah. Steve's here. He said it's bad, Michael. It is bad, man. But again, and Steve would agree with this. Steve would agree. It's tough to be mad at this team unless you're holding them to Super Bowl standards. And I hold every team that Mahomes is part of as Super Bowl capable, Super Bowl standards. But this particular team at this particular time has not shown me that is who they are. So do you get mad when they lose to the Raiders? It's kind of hard to get mad when you lose to the Raiders because they've shown they can't beat the Raiders. They can't beat Denver. They're beating themselves on a week-to-week basis. So, yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, at this point, I've almost lost the ability to be that mad. And now I'm just like, where did it go wrong? Like, what do you do to correct it? I'm going to offer up my idea of how to correct this in just a few seconds before I call it a day. And I just want everybody to let me know in the comments what you think. What you think, if it's right or wrong. I think to correct this, I think number one, it starts with Mahomes. Not saying Mahomes has been bad, but I think to correct it, Mahomes has to do what I said he did earlier. Mahomes has to throw his micromanaging out the window, and he just has to look at every one of his receivers like they are God's gift to the wide receiver position, and he has to start chucking it out there. Look, if they're not set, look, in the NFL, there's no such thing as wide open. If you can get a corner on your hip and you can give the quarterback a window this big, he's supposed to hit it. Mahomes he's got to start throwing his receivers open. If they run the wrong route and it gets picked, that's on the receiver. Like, now look, everybody watching might not know that, but they're going to know that. They're going to know that. So he's got to start treating his receivers like they are just good receivers, and he's just going to have to let it fly. He needs to get out of his head a little bit, and he's let it fly. The receivers got to get out of their heads a little bit too. They can't be so worried about making a mistake because it's causing them to make more mistakes. And again, these are things that they're probably working on behind closed doors. I don't know that. I'm not behind closed doors with them. I'm just a guy that observes Chiefs football and we talk about it. But that would be my two things there. When it comes to Andy, I think that him and Nagy need to get on a better page of making these receivers earn their playing time. MVS does not need to be getting 62 snaps. I'm sorry, he don't. He hasn't earned it. Make these guys earn it a little bit. I think it's a little too cupcake out there. I feel like these guys feel entitled. They feel like they should play. I make $33 million over 3 years. I should be 60 snaps a game. No. Earn your playing time or lose it. Justin Ross should have had more snaps than MVS last game. If I were the coach, Justin Ross would have had 40 snaps. So 30 more snaps, and MVS would have lost 30 snaps. I would have rather had Justin Ross running 40 snaps and MVS running 30. Why? Simple. We've seen what MVS can do over 2 years, and it's nothing. So I want to see what Justin Ross has. So Andy and them's got to get on a better page with the guys and be like, look, you got to be a hard ass a little bit. Look, kids, if you have kids, you know this. I don't have kids, so I say this tongue in cheek a little bit. But I was raised by a parent who respect and love to this day. I would find it harder to find a father-son bond stronger. I'm sure it's out there, but it's strong. And my dad didn't let me, he let me get away with a lot. Probably to his thinking. But if I messed up, I knew it and it was corrected. And so kids crave structure. And I feel like that's the same way. If you don't let these guys, if you don't give them some structure and you don't hold them accountable, they're going to walk all over you. And that's just the way I see it. So Andy's got to get a little bit tougher with that. And I think he's got to lose some of the cute play calling. And we just got to start maybe, running the ball a little bit more. I know Pacheco had the concussion yesterday. By the way, can this guy strap it up a little better? Get him some duct tape out there. Put something on there. My God. And I do know the Raiders were tackling high all game yesterday, man. They were tackling high and ripping. But I tell you, I think we got to start, get more mean, get more nasty. Start grinding the ball a little bit. Start running it a little bit more. Open up that passing game. Take a little pressure off the receivers. Like, why is Mahomes throwing the ball so much? We've already discovered that the receivers can't get open. They drop passes like crazy, and then Mahomes drops back for 44 attempts. That's not even counting the 10 carries he had. So this dude dropped back in the pocket 54 times. They dropped him back 54 times, and we've got an offensive line that wasn't blocking. We've got receivers that don't run the right routes and receivers that can't catch the ball when he does throw it. So why is he dropping back 54 times? Like, what? Like, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out. Maybe we should have relied on the running game. Because, by the way, I thought Clyde Edwards-Helaire looked good again for like the third or fourth straight game. Like, Clyde has overcome some hate this year. He made a heck of a play. He might have had the play of the game yesterday when he broke that tackle and broke that off there at the end. It was insane. But yeah, so that would be it. Mahomes has got to play a little better. Receivers got to get out of their heads. And when I say Mahomes plays better, he's got to trust his guys more and just start throwing it. And he's got to be a little bit more, keep his guys accountable, and a little more, let's not get cute and take some pressure off of the play calling. And then, by the way, Spags and the defense, I don't change a thing there. Those guys are killing it. They're awesome. So, defense, props to the defense. But I think that may get us, and look, if that don't get us over the hump, I don't know what does. Like I said, I just don't think it's a great football team this year. I think we wanted it to be great. We all knew deep down it probably wasn't going to be. But we held out hope. But I think at this point, it's okay if you want to give up a little bit of hope. I still got hope that if we get in the playoffs, that Mahomes magic, and maybe we can chunk off 4 straight and win it. I don't think that, that doesn't make you a bad person to think that. It also doesn't make you a bad person if you think we're going to get bounced in the first round either. Like, I'm dead serious. It doesn't. I'm not going to call you a bandwagoner, and I think your feelings are valid here. I really do. So, that's how I would fix it. Maybe Andy will watch this. Who knows? Maybe he'll credit me post-game. Who knows? But I'll say this, though. I really appreciate you guys being here with me. I'm showing 98 likes. Is that real? Oh, no. We're at 148. Heck yeah. Jump it to 150. Hit that like button on the way out. And thank you guys for being here with me this entire time. It's been a good time. I'm glad I got to talk with you. I'm glad you guys got to vent a little bit. I wish I could have answered more of your questions. I wish I could have answered them probably better. But I'm just doing what I can do, man. I'm trying to overcome this season, man. It felt like it took so long to get here, and then it felt like it's flown by, and it's not shaping out the way we wanted it here in the kingdom. But you know what? A bad day watching the Chiefs is better a good day without watching the Chiefs. Am I right? I'm right. But you guys have a good one. Hit that like button on the way out. Hit that sub button. We're almost at 20K, guys. We're going to hit it. We're going to hit it. And I appreciate you guys for being here. Hit us up on all the socials, and I'll catch you guys next time. Go Chiefs.
Heaven was a sight from my soul.